And welcome back to White Claw Wednesday, episode 98. Yeah, Ryan and I we're working men, so the
We
Skype thing
are.
had
It's
to be
come
the play
back.
again,
I knew it would. It was a
Yeah.
bold statement by
Yeah,
you to
yeah.
say that it wouldn't.
It was a bold statement. Yeah, like, I can make it here every single week.
Cheers up, brother.
No problem. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Nice shirt, dude.
Ooh.
Deutschland.
Oh yeah, thank you. This was a gift from my mom when she went to Germany a few years ago.
I got the Don't Stop Retrieving shirt
Mm.
with cheddar
There
on
we
it.
go. Do you have a Husky shirt? Because I
don't.
you have a.
I know.
I think you. Okay,
I promise
yeah.
I don't play favorites. Cheddar is my favorite, but I don't play favorites.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. It's the golden retriever is hard to defeat. I follow a Snapchat celebrity, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
It's a couple, a married couple who live in Florida, and they own five dogs
Yeah.
or six, something like that, and they're all white labs / golden retrievers.
Uh-huh.
And their Snapchat is called the Golden Ratio. If anybody wants to check it out, it's actually. I mean, if you just like looking at dogs, it's fun. But it's interesting because are there two different types of golden retrievers? Because they have
No,
two different
there's just-
types.
Well, I mean,
There's just one.
No, there is definitely different types. I mean, I feel like there's genetic variation even between a
'Cause they
specific
have-
breed. But like cheddar is like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's red. Like he's pretty
Exactly,
red.
and
But there's some
That's what I'm saying.
light yellow ones out there. So I don't know. It's kind of like hair color. I think.
There's six dogs. They own six dogs, and it's funny because they break into twos. Two of them are white labs.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe with some golden retriever in them, I'm not sure. And then the other two are golden retrievers. I'm almost certain, but they're a lighter shade than cheddar is. They're more
Yeah.
they're closer to the yellow side of the gold spectrum.
Yeah.
And also their noses are shorter, and their tails are more bushy and longer haired.
Mm-hmm.
And then their other two dogs completing the six are two dogs that I'm assuming is what Cheddar's going to look like when he grows up, because
Which are super
they have
red.
the same exact tail, the long skinny tail,
Yeah.
and then they have the longer nose snout, which is what Cheddar has. So that's why I'm asking is like, because it seems like there's different types of golden retrievers just based off the Snapchat account I follow.
I think so. I mean, at least with Cheddar, like his face has grown so much, and it's weird. His like body to me isn't growing, but I notice his face changing. Like he's changing. He's morphing from not being a puppy. And when I do see golden retrievers online, because I do also follow some of those accounts, he honestly doesn't look like a lot of them. So yeah, I mean, I know with labs, there's like English lab, there's the American lab, stuff like that. There's and the same thing with huskies too. There's the Alaskan husky, there's the Siberian, which is what Chelsea is. So there's definitely some variation. But dude, dog breeding in general is, man, it's insane. Like, not only the money in it, but also just how good some people are at breeding dogs. Like there are these, like a Labradoodle, right? Or even like a Golden Doodle.
The one,
those
the one
breeds,
that
right?
doesn't shed.
The ones that don't shed, they're a mix between a Golden Retriever and a Poodle, or a Labrador and a Poodle.
Yeah.
There are breeders
They're
out
expensive.
there. They're super expensive. But what's even more expensive are the minis. So you can get a mini Golden Doodle. I mean, I don't want to throw out a number there, but
mini
it's like
Golden Doodle?
$5,000. Yeah.
Yeah. A
And
mini
they're
golden
like,
doodle
I don't know,
sounds like a
30
dessert.
pounds. That's
Yeah.
true. It does. But I don't even think you can actually breed those dogs. Like it's you have to breed like a mini poodle and a big golden retriever, and you can't breed two mini labradoodles. I don't know how it works, man, but I'm pretty sure that like those dogs are sterile because they can't reproduce. Or I definitely know there are some breeds like that. So to whoever's mastered the dog breeding game out there, I mean, hats off to you. It truly is incredible.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's also a breed. It might be like related to pugs or something, but there's a breed where the females can't give birth.
Oh, because I think it's the bulldogs. They always do a C-section.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like their hind, their hips aren't wide enough to.
Yeah. It's bulldogs, or it's a lot of the bully breeds. That's what they call them.
The bully breed. Yeah.
Those also go for a lot of money, dude.
Oh yeah, it's fascinating to me with dogs how we've come from the wolf to where we are now, and that's why I love dogs like golden retrievers and huskies, is because they still have a lot of, and like German shepherds and the bigger dog breeds, because they still kind of give me that whole wolf vibe. And coming from a place of like video games growing up, it was always really cool when your character had a pet, and they were always like by your side. And usually in video games, your pet was also a ferocious monster in a way.
What video game did you play that had a pet? I'm trying to remember any. Oh, World of Warcraft. There you go. But those pets are like just made up.
World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Yeah, they're made up. But that's the thing, though. It's like, how close can we get to that?
Yeah.
Are you trying to tell me a French bulldog is closer to the World of Warcraft pets than Chelsea is? Because you're lying.
No.
You're just lying. You're lying to me. Because Chelsea looks like a wolf.
Oh yeah, no. Chelsea reminds me of
a French bulldog looks like a dog that was created to be expensive.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, literally, they are meant to be expensive because they've destroyed their nasal passageway, so they can't even breathe, and so they have a bunch of nasal issues. Anyways, we're diving too deep into this, but
I mean, we're diving deep, but it's like whenever you see them, like the rappers have them on the GQ interviews, or
the Huskies.
You see,
the Bulldogs.
No, I'm talking about the French Bulldogs. Like 2 Chainz does the most expensive-ish shit YouTube series, and he usually has his little dog Trappy with him, and you can hear
the dog wheezing.
Breed struggling.
It's like they're snoring
the wheezing,
all the time.
All the time.
I don't know if I'd be able to deal with that, dude. I can barely deal. Like when Cheddar snores at night, I literally get up and move his head so that he stops snoring. And Cheddar's like
so loud.
I don't know. I can't sleep over it. And like it's really quiet where we're at. Like we don't even have like a humidifier, or we don't run the AC at night, so there's like no noise. And so anytime the dogs move around or stuff, it's like I'm like wide awake, like, whoa, what's going on, Did you hear?
Yeah, dude, snoring is the worst. Once you're up, once you're awake, and then the snoring starts, it's so hard to fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. That's so
hard
true.
to fall asleep.
Did you hear that because of Game of Thrones? I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I remember hearing this a while ago, that because of Game of Thrones, a lot of people wanted Huskies. Yeah. You heard that?
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard that, but it makes total sense to me, because of Jon Snow's wolf dog.
Well, they all had wolves.
They all had wolves, but didn't Jon's make it the longest? Like it survived the longest? I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't know.
Because the whole Stark family, the whole Stark family
had ones. But
yeah, because they found the dead mother or whatever.
Who was the girl that?
The dire wolf. Aren't they called dire wolves?
They're dire wolves, yeah. But who was the girl that got to put on many faces? She learned how to do that and eventually killed the
Arya Stark.
King. Arya. Yeah. Arya's wolf.
Arya. Yeah, Arya.
Actually lasted the longest because it was in the wild, right?
It did.
Because Jon Snow's.
Yeah, it came back. Yeah.
Because his died in the end.
You thought,
right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Or he was severely wounded at one point into that.
It was a reveal that Arya's wolf was, surviving in the woods the whole time. After everybody,
he was the alpha of the crew.
Yeah,
it was like Arya was surrounded by wolves, and she's like, and then her dog comes out, and they like lock eyes, and then he calls the wolves off. Great scene.
Kind of representative of who she is as a character in terms of, you're kind of like thinking Jon Snow's going to do like the most badass kill.
True.
In the, the finale of the show.
This is true.
And then sort of similar how you think like Jon Snow's wolf is the best and last wolf to survive. And then, Arya and her wolf show that they've been, training up in the shadows and, getting the ability to, be, the last one standing in a sense.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
a good
knife
point.
drop, dude.
That is
yeah,
a good point. That knife drop was like
that
iconic.
knife drop has. Oh my God, it was. I still remember that moment of seeing that and just losing my mind. It really felt like I was watching with Tristan and Dominic, and like it felt like we just won the Super Bowl. It was so cool, dude. Yeah. Say what you will about that last season, but that moment, man.
Yeah, the season was rushed, but it was a great show. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely a great show. So, have you been keeping up with all the trials that have been going on? I mean, the two main big trials are the Rittenhouse one and then the
Ahmaud Arbery.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ahmaud Arbery one, the three murderers that got convicted, right?
Yeah, all of them were guilty.
Yeah. And
crazy,
then
man.
Kyle Rittenhouse,
not really crazy.
Well, no, not crazy. I mean, It's interesting to see the polar opposites of the decisions in the cases trials, because isn't Kyle Rittenhouse, wasn't he acquitted of all charges and he's all free as a bird, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so I kind of watched some of the like the questioning on the trials and stuff like that. This last week was my last week at work. No, for the Rittenhouse one, because the Arbery one I thought was super just like, I mean, it was just blatant. Like there was no way they were gonna get away.
Oh yeah, no, it was as blatant as you could get.
They were
exactly.
guilty. Yeah. I don't even know why they were trying to defend themselves. But anyways, the Rittenhouse one was interesting because, I mean, I didn't really know much about the situation, but I had seen a bunch of headlines like, "Oh, prosecutor screws themselves." I don't know, there's something like that, or there was this key witness.
Yeah.
The actual, like, one of the guys that Rittenhouse shot, who also had a gun that night, and he was like a key witness, and he like blew up the case apparently by saying that he like actually pointed a gun at Rittenhouse, and like that was like, exactly. I was that like was looking. That was like the moment where you see like I think it's the prosecutors. I don't know. There's like the prosecutor from the state, and then there's like his support team. I don't know if they're lawyers or what they are, but one of them like puts his hand on his head like this, like, oh no, like that was bad.
Like there it goes, yeah.
Because I think which I mean, to me, like if it really came down to that moment where like, okay, this is a case of is he a murderer or was it self-defense, and then you have a guy who has a gun pointing at Rittenhouse, it's like, what does the law define as self-defense at that point, And I think in Wisconsin, which is where it was, that is like enough for a self-defense case,
Yeah.
So I don't know. A part of me definitely agrees with it, not saying that he was there for the right reasons and, was a good citizen, whatever. But I can definitely see how how the case turned out the way it did. Like, I completely understand, based on the laws in Wisconsin, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, again, him going there, for whatever, reasons he had, I'm not going to, talk about that. Just in terms of, is he a murderer or was he self-defending in the state of Wisconsin? I mean, I can see it,
Yeah. Yeah, my biggest thing is the fact that he didn't live there in the location the riots.
He was like
where the protests and riots were going.
I don't know. Right? Yeah,
he specifically drove there.
Yeah, I think he lives out of state. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he drove.
I'm pretty sure that is the case.
Yeah, he drove to Kenosha, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, that right there is enough for me to be like,
you're an asshole, kind of.
Well, also you should do some time. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's just. I mean, that right. Like really, like he put himself in the. So that's just that. It is what it is. But all I can say is when you go out of your way to do something like that, and you go out of your way with an AR-15 or whatever gun you had, clearly you're looking for trouble.
No, exactly.
And
exactly,
you're gonna get it because you look the way you do, and you're carrying that rifle, and you drove there specifically. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So to me, he should have done time for sure, and he's about as not guilty as I am for taking the last Pop-Tart or whatever. Like.
No, right. I 100% agree. Like he went there for all the wrong reasons. Yeah. It's just
but the way our justice system works, and just every human has their own opinion, all that stuff, just different state laws, everything. I imagine myself watching like the retelling of this trial in a TV format, or had this not been reality, and or had I just been watching it myself, like you were watching it.
Right.
I would have known in that moment of seeing that, you saying that one guy putting his hand in his face, like, oh shit, that's it. Like, I would have known had I seen it happen, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be not guilty.
Right.
Like it was
right. Exactly.
It was one of those things where I immediately knew, and even just reading articles about it and not actually watching the actual trial, I still got the vibe that, oh, there's a good chance that he gets off free as a bird, just because I was reading about this thing. Is that I mean, sure, he's defending himself.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, of course. And, a big part of the case.
But it doesn't change the fact that he went there.
No, exactly. I mean, all those guys, like, literally all those guys that went there and, were, like, in basically army outfits. Like, what are you trying to do, If you're really trying to protect something and not cause damage, or I don't know, like rile up the crowd, then like you don't have an AR-15 strapped to yourself. But that's just my opinion.
And also,
I also don't agree with people bringing guns there in general. Like,
well, yeah,
that's just
and
wrong.
What starts out as a protest turns into a riot, because of the weapons and stuff.
Right. Do you think we're past that?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I mean, things have calmed down. Where do you think it's gonna? Where do you think it's gonna go?
Oh, I don't know. I just I just don't know, Ryan. Sometimes I don't think. I don't know.
Sometimes you don't think. What?
I want everybody to just love each other, but I just don't think that's ever going to be the case. So
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I think as we've had, periods, it seems like, where things have calmed down and then ramp up, calm down, ramp up. And I just think that's going to continue to happen.
Continue. Yeah, hey, that's a good that's a good idea, or good thought on it, I mean.
Yeah. And I'm not even trying to say like it's just basically, the cliche of life goes on, like
It's true.
More bad shit's gonna happen. More good shit's gonna happen. It's just
time keeps on ticking,
day,
man.
Another day, another dollar. It's just you and me keep doing this every week. Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm like.
Hey, two things you can is gonna happen. White Claw Wednesdays will always come out, and time will keep on ticking.
Exactly.
I hate time, man. Time sucks.
You nailed it. Time does suck. And it's funny how we've kind of manipulated it.
What do you mean?
Like, who said we had to have 24 hours in the day? Like, who
made
that rule?
The rotations around the sun?
I get that.
Actually, not around the sun, but how we're rotating in orbit is the 24-hour day.
But what if we treated life like we only needed to sleep for like 10 hours every 48 hours? So in that sense,
I think this is biological, man. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, is like, who was the first person to just be like, okay, 24-hour days, fuck it, let's do it. That's how we're That's how we're counting time. Like, that's what interests me, is that why couldn't it have been a little bit different?
I guess, like, as soon as, humans evolved, if we just decided to only sleep for like, I don't know, 16 hours one day and then just have 2 days where we're awake, I think we would have adapted. But I think, we just get tired, man. We're like monkeys. Monkeys sleep every day too,
exactly.
Yeah. But
it's a natural. It's funny how our bodies are just kind of like, we naturally are just in sync with, the living thing we're living on in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've adapted that way over many different, maybe over different species, like I can't imagine that monkeys are very useful at night. I mean, they need to see to swing and peel bananas and stuff or whatever they do.
Exactly.
Fling poop.
And I wasn't, and it might have sounded really dumb for me to say like, oh, why can't we do a 40-hour day? And it is dumb when you think about it in the sense of Frank, because we're synced up with where we live. Like, obviously, like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm just imagining a scenario where, you go back way in the beginning of humanity and someone's just like, you know what, I don't really want to follow the rules of this, and like he stomps on the ground or something, and then he's like, I'm gonna stay up, and he makes fire, and then he lights a torch, and he's staying up from 2 a.m. to sunrise. And but that didn't happen. So
it didn't happen. But what's more likely
he fell asleep.
I hope, and this is why I hate time, is we get to a point where we can manipulate it. I mean, it just sucks. Like we don't have any
time.
Like interstellar type manipulation. Like we're the fifth or sixth dimension or whatever they called it. I mean,
so we're on the planet where like every minute is like 7 years. Like, remember the water planet they're on with the giant wave?
Right. It's like we're bending space time or whatever. I don't know how they described it, but yes.
I don't know if you noticed this, but the soundtrack that Hans Zimmer did, the song that he did for that sequence on that planet, had a constant ticking, had a clock that was going like a boom.
I did not
boom,
notice that.
Boom, boom. Yeah, it was, and it was every second, because Matthew McConaughey, it was pretty much counting the amount of years that were passing as they were on that planet.
Gotcha.
But I was mentioning In Time, which is the Justin Timberlake, Amanda Seyfried movie. They have the amount of time on their arm.
Is it In Time? I think it's just time. Live. It's just time.
No, it's called In Time.
In Time. Oh, okay.
It's called In Time, yeah.
That's a great movie too, dude. It's a good shout right there, man. I haven't talked about that in years.
It's also just a great concept, and it's very
great
cool.
idea.
And the idea of like we have
time is currency, that type of stuff.
Time is currency, and we max out at like age 27 or whatever it is in the movie.
We'll just stop aging.
So everybody looks all good.
Everyone looks great. Yeah,
but that again would kind of would sort of. The thing about time, though, is it's so connected to humanity. If we're able to control it, don't we lose some of our humanity in a way?
If we're able to control time, do we lose some of our humanity? In that sense of in time, yes. I mean, it just depends how we control it. Like, do we literally control it in the same sort of realm that in time is in, to where the rich get all the time in the world?
Yeah.
Then definitely.
Pretty much.
Or are we able to, I don't know, manipulate it and stop death or go back in time and fix things? I don't know, man. I don't know.
But here, go back in time, though. We got to talk about the butterfly effect, dude.
What is that? Is that where you can't...
Ryan, you know about the butterfly effect.
I mean, I know the Travis Scott song, but I don't know what is it called?
It's when you go back in time and you do something, you change something, and it changes everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a word for that or a phrase for that, but I know what you're talking about. That's like that's like one of those lines in any time traveling movie. It's like, but what about this? Yeah.
But I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to just throw it out there right now because I really like the butterfly effect way of that terminology, and I'm pretty sure that called that because the idea of it is that it doesn't matter the event. It could be so small as you catching a butterfly and ripping off its wings, throwing it to the ground. So imagine if I time traveled 50 years in the past or whatever.
Yeah.
And all I did was grab a butterfly, rip off its wings, throw it to the ground, and then I went back to the point I just came from. Suddenly, my uncle is my aunt. It's like
suddenly there's a massive tsunami just
exactly
catastrophically coming towards you. Yeah, I totally get it.
I'm a professional baseball player. It's like.
And if you believe in what is the theory called? We've talked about it before. It's like infinite possibilities. Yeah. There's sort of like infinite amount of universes, and each of these universes,
it's the quantum suicide theory.
The quantum suicide.
Yeah,
is that it?
Yes, right. I'm pretty sure it is. We talked about it before. We talked about it in the garage. Actually, it was in the garage area.
The quantum suicide is where that's true. It's part of that theory, but
okay.
What I'm more specifically talking about, what you just mentioned was, the quantum suicide is where if you believe in an infinite amount of, universes and an infinite amount of possibilities, then any decision you make will lead to you committing suicide. That's it, right?
Oh, I thought it was that.
What is it?
Every decision you make, I thought it was like.
Oh, okay. Every decision you make there in some universe, you're also committing suicide. Is that what it is?
Or that you've last weekend. Yeah. I went grocery shopping.
I can't believe you forgot.
I had to get chips and I had to get chips and dip. Okay, for Friendsgiving. And I decided I felt like ice cream. And I went and I wanted a Ben and Jerry's, but grocery outlet didn't have it. Because,
that sucks.
Grocery outlet. But CVS is right next door. So I go to CVS. I'm like, I bet CVS, it's got the name brands. It's going to have Ben & Jerry's.
Sure.
Go to the ice cream aisle. It's got 3 Ben & Jerry's left. It's got 2 Americone Dreams. That's Stephen Colbert's signature flavor. It's pretty good. Okay. Vanilla with fudge-covered waffle cone chunks and I think bits of and a caramel swirl. Caramel, however you want to say it.
Sounds really
good.
And
then the other flavor, it's so dang. And the other flavor is strawberry cheesecake. Another solid flavor. You got strawberry ice cream with a cheesecake swirl in it.
You can't go wrong.
And I'm looking at it, and they're like $6.79. So it's just like the little Ben and Jerry pint. And I'm like, damn, that's like it's like
that's
comparing
hefty,
it to grocery outlet prices. I'm just like, that's kind of expensive.
Well, you're at CVS.
I'm standing there debating, and also like, exactly. I'm at CVS, and also I walked to grocery outlet because both locations are walkable, and I'm holding my grocery outlet items, my chips and dip. And it's kind of weighing me down, and I'm just having this debate with myself, like, do I also carry this and deal with another, like, do I occupy my other hand with this cold ice cream as I have to walk back in the cold? And that's kind of overpriced in my eyes.
Sure.
And I decide no. But the quantum suicide theory is pretty much in that moment when I decide no, I'm not going to get the ice cream. Another version of me decides to get the ice cream. And now I've just created another version of myself in another universe. So you've made so many decisions in your life that you are infinitely alive, and therefore it does get to the point of you may have killed yourself in another reality that spawned off of me picking to get the ice cream.
So any decision you make, if you believe in it, there is a possibility out there that one version of you just killed themselves.
Yes, it is true. And
it's crazy? The sad think about reality of that belief. Although we can't.
Do you remember? Yeah, it can't be exactly. Do you remember going to Zion with John? And
yeah, absolutely.
The Angels Landing hike. Remember how high up we were, and how like we were literally we could have just taken one step to our left or right at pretty much 75% of the hike, and we would have died. We would have just fallen to our death.
Absolutely.
Like it was that, and I still remember having the thought of, wow, I could just close it out right now. That there's the quantum theory right there.
And one of you did.
There's a version of me that did end it right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or there's a version of me that mouthed off to the guy in front of me and then he pushes me off.
Dude, I always remember, oh my God, like I always think back to, I was so ballsy as a kid. I don't even know what went over me, but we were doing that when we were doing that hike. I would like grab onto the chain and just like lean back. So like literally, if that chain broke, I was gone, man. Like that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times, man.
Have the. Yeah.
Have you ever thought, now that we're on the sort of multiple realities thing, have you ever thought of whether or not we live in a simulation? And
I think of that a lot.
We've probably talked about it.
I think of that a lot.
But
I don't know. I don't know if we've talked about the simulation.
I don't know if we
specifically,
have.
But
the simulation.
I do think about that more than I should.
So here's the concept is, it's like we all agree that our sort of augmented reality is becoming better, right? And it's going to get to a point one day, or the expectation is it's going to get to a point one day where,
like Total Recall,
almost indistinguishable from. It is indistinguishable. I mean, you cannot tell.
Yeah, from our reality.
From our own reality. Therefore, we could be in one of those simulations in the future, and it does make sense. It does make sense because let me just lay this out for you, okay?
Because that's kind of what the Matrix is. Total Recall is,
Let's just say it's 2200. Okay, the year 2200. The world is absolutely just in despair. I mean, famine everywhere. The oceans are rising. There's natural disasters everywhere because you destroyed the earth. Okay.
And only the rich live in like floating expensive houses or something.
Yeah, sure. Or we'll take a step back. Before that happens, we're still a society and we're still super technologically advanced. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have the ability to run simulations. What are we doing? We are running as many simulations as we can to determine what those simulations did in our scenario. Okay? So we are living out the memories of these simulations, but in reality, these memories aren't even real because the simulations aren't for now, they're for the future. Right?
Okay. So
does that make sense?
What you're saying is, you're saying that we could potentially be in a simulation where where this reality that we're experiencing right now is being simulated by people in 2200.
Yeah,
and
or whatever
they are
year.
Simulating this reality in order to learn why they're in the fucked up situation they're in right now. Is that what you're saying?
No, in order to try and fix the fucked up situation, right? Because if you run
but
a million
don't
different
you need
simulations,
to learn to fix though? You need to, like, you're saying they're trying to learn from their past mistakes in order to fix their current situation. Is that what
they're trying to find a solution. So they're throwing us in the future per se, but us living right now, like our consciousness is really just memories within our being in the future, if that makes sense, within the simulation. So let's say we're not a simulation, okay? We get to a point, 2200, the world is collapsing. Yeah. We need to figure out a solution, but we can't think of one. And so what we do is we kick off a million different simulations and see what these simulations do in order to fix the problem that we're in. And if one of them fixes it, or I'm assuming not necessarily a fix, but they'll look at the simulations and think, okay, well, in this, simulation, only 100,000 people died, and the other ones were not as good. So they're like, okay, let's do that. That's the sort of what I'm trying to portray here.
I see. Okay,
and it makes complete sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is exactly what we do. So who's to think that we're not actually in a simulation right now trying to solve a problem that hasn't even occurred yet, right?
Wow. Damn, dude.
And you know what? It begs the question of...
And these simulations would be moving at a rapid pace. in a sense. So we're experiencing the simulation at normal pace, 24 hours a day, but they're running all these simulations at so many, all these different simulations at once that in theory that they move really quickly.
I mean, in theory,
because
think about it,
like
depending on the computational power, the simulations could finish very quickly.
If you have people in the future, trying to figure out how to fix their problems, don't they need to get farther past where we're at right now in order to get to a solution potentially?
Yeah, I mean, it would be running at an insane speed, but the idea of a quote unquote simulation is it's simulating real time. It's like Sims, man. It's like Sims. It's
it is.
You're playing Sims, and
that is true. Yeah,
you're playing Sims in our real time.
I'm just imagining yeah.
You know Sims, right? The game Sims, where you build a life and stuff like that.
Sims. Oh yeah.
Okay, so
I used to play Sims with my sister all the time. Yeah.
So you can imagine that we are actually one of those little characters within Sims. That's just growing up and doing their life, but it happens a lot quicker.
Happens a lot quicker. And also, do you think it's more likely that they're using simulations to try to fix their problems or using simulations to just live out pleasures?
Well, they're not in the simulation, so that would be like virtual reality.
Oh,
okay.
Right? Okay. Yeah, you were coming from the... Yeah. Sorry,
it's
I was
almost
just
like you have
that.
a million bots trying to fix a problem that you have. That's essentially the idea of a simulation. And we could be inside one of those. Now, if for pleasure, I mean, that's virtual reality. I mean, that's like, robots and things like that.
Yeah, that's okay. Whew, man, that's tough, dude. I don't know. I hope not. But it's at the same time, they're doing a pretty good job if they are running a simulation and we're in it.
And then what
I don't
would
think
happen?
of it more than I don't think of it. What would happen if we discovered we were in a simulation?
Exactly. So so you got to think of a society, right? A society that's running these simulations. And then this society realizes that one of the simulations is becoming self-aware. What do you do to that simulation?
You got to destroy it.
You shut it down, right? You shut it down. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So really...
And that's where we reach the point of we don't want to wake up.
So really, we should stop talking about it is... Like, if you do believe we're in a simulation, you should stop talking about it and live as much time as you have.
Yes. Yes, definitely. But at the same time, like...
What?
Bring it on, Bring it on, dude.
Bring on the
bring it on. Like, unplug me. Like, let's go a few rounds. Unplug me. See if I can swing on you.
Frank's ready to jump off the Angel's Landing hike or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, not that. But I'm just ready. I'm imagining. I mean, you've seen The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Like when Neo first wakes up from the pod, he like pops out.
Oh,
he's got like the plug in the back of his head.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining like popping out of that pod and I'm already like punching the air. I'm just swinging, just in case you got dudes around me or whatever.
Nice, man. All right, well let's end this here, man.
Let's wrap it up.
I got family here and.
It was another great. I love the. This is why I love doing this, Ryan, because we get to these places.
These places,
where I'm talking about popping out of a pod and swinging on. I'm just swinging on dudes.
Yeah. We've had some great moments, man.
Episode 98.
All right,
coming
brother.
to a close. Thanks for listening, everybody. We love y'all. Peace out.
Peace.